It was 1995, and I was 28 years old, living life on the edge. My name is Alex Turner, and back then, adventure was my only religion. I wasn't interested in anything spiritual, let alone God. I was living on a small island off the coast of South Africa, a place called Réunion. I spent my days diving for lobster and exploring the ocean, fearless of danger, always chasing the next thrill. But one evening, while out on a dive, that fearlessness would come back to haunt me in a way I could never have imagined. I was stung by not one, not two, but 5 box jellyfish, one of the most venomous creatures in the world. Their poison can kill you in minutes, and I could feel it working through my body, paralyzing me within seconds. I managed to surface, but I couldn't move. The pain was like nothing I'd ever experienced, as if my entire body was on fire from the inside out. All I could think was, this is it. I'm going to die here in the middle of the ocean. By some miracle, I was spotted by a nearby boat and rushed to shore. An ambulance came, but by the time they got me in, I was completely paralyzed. My arms, my legs, everything was useless. I couldn't speak, and necrosis had already begun to set into my bone marrow. I knew my time was running out. As I lay in the back of that ambulance, staring up at the ceiling, I started to see my life flash before my eyes. I had no idea if there was anything after death. I wasn't religious, and frankly, I never cared much about whether God was real or not. But as I lay there, waiting to die, I saw something that completely caught me off guard. I saw my mother. My mom was the only Christian in our family. I hadn't really given much thought to her faith before, but in that moment, as I lay dying, I saw her clearly, praying for me. She was on her knees, pleading with God. And it wasn't just her words, it was like I could feel her prayers. They were so real, so desperate. And then I heard her voice, even though she wasn't physically there with me. Call out to God, Alex. Call out to Him from your heart, and He will hear you. He will forgive you. I had no idea what to pray. I hadn't prayed a day in my life. But in that moment of desperation, I whispered into the darkness, God, if you're real, help me. Show me how to pray. In an instant, the Lord's Prayer came to my mind, as clear as if someone had spoken it to me. I didn't even know it. At least I didn't think I did. But somehow, the words filled my mind, and I began to speak them. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. As I prayed, I felt something begin to shift, but not in my body, in my spirit. Even though the pain was unbearable, there was a strange peace that started to come over me, as if a presence was surrounding me. By the time we reached the hospital, I had lost consciousness. The doctors worked on me, injecting antitoxins and trying everything they could to save my life. But within minutes, I was clinically dead. My heart stopped, and my body lay lifeless for about 20 minutes. During that time, I wasn't just unconscious, I was somewhere else. It's hard to explain, but I found myself in a place of total darkness. At first, I didn't understand what was happening. I reached out, but there was nothing. No walls, no ground beneath my feet, just a vast, empty void. When I tried to touch my face, my hand went straight through it. That's when I realized I was dead. But this darkness wasn't just physical. It was spiritual. I could sense it. There was something cold, eerie, and terrifying about this place. And even worse, I wasn't alone. I couldn't see it, but I could feel something watching me, waiting in the shadows. It was a presence, and it wasn't friendly. Then, just when I thought I was trapped in this darkness forever, a beam of brilliant light broke through. It wasn't like any light I had ever seen. It wasn't just bright, it was alive. This light began to lift me out of the darkness, and as I was being drawn towards it, I felt this overwhelming sense of warmth, peace, and safety. It was like all the fear and pain from the darkness was being replaced with pure love. Suddenly, I found myself inside a long tunnel, and at the far end of it was the source of this light. It was so powerful, so beautiful, that I wanted to get closer. As I looked at the light, a wave of it broke off and rushed towards me. When it passed through me, I could feel my soul being flooded with peace, comfort, and joy like I'd never known. As I came out of the tunnel, I found myself standing in the midst of this awesome, radiant light. It wasn't just an energy source, it was personal. I began to wonder, is someone in this light? And just as I thought that, I heard a voice. Alex, do you wish to return? I didn't even know where I was, but I knew one thing. If I was out of my physical body, I wanted to go back. The voice spoke again. If you wish to return, you must see in a new light. Suddenly, words appeared in front of me, like they were being written in the very air. God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. I had never read the Bible, but I somehow knew these words came straight from it. At that moment, I realized that the light wasn't just a force, it was God himself. Then, just as quickly as it had all begun, I was pulled back into my body. My heart began to beat again, and I woke up in the hospital. The doctors couldn't believe it. I had been dead for 20 minutes, and yet here I was, alive and without a single complication. No brain damage, no organ failure, nothing. I was alive, and more importantly, I was changed. I knew in that moment that God had given me a second chance, not just at life, but at faith. I had seen both the darkness of death and the incredible light of God's love, and I knew I couldn't go back to the way I was living before. I had to see the world in a new light, and that light was Jesus Christ. If you're still with me, I want you to know that this isn't just a story, it's a testimony. God is real, and he's reaching out to you just like he reached out to me. Maybe you're not facing death like I was, but we all have dark places in our lives that only God's light can reach. If this testimony has spoken to you, if you're searching for more stories of hope and transformation, hit that subscribe button and join us. I'll be sharing more about my journey, about the God who saved me, and about how you can experience his light in your life too. Don't wait for a second chance. Start your journey with him today.